Hi there. This is Dianne Hanks with a very special video response to a request from one of my very precious viewers. She asked me if I would talk about hope. And I've been thinking about how to talk about hope and what it means and what it has meant in my life and other lives. Can you see how this candle in the darkness, you can really see it? The one magical thing about hope is that even in the darkest of the dark despair that you have, the opposite of that is hope. And just a little teeny tiny bit of it really lightens the way, shows the way. It gives a little bit of an extra added measure that things will be okay, that you can find your way. You know, the other night it was dark and I had forgotten to turn on my light, and it was really dark, and I had my cell phone, and I kind of flipped open my cell phone, and just with that little teeny tiny light, I was able to find my way with that teeny tiny light. It doesn't mean that you need a whole lot of it to get things going in the right direction. Sometimes we feel like things can't get worse. But if you talk to anybody who has lived life a little tiny bit, you will know that things can always get worse, but they also can get better. And having hope that things will get better and behaving as though things are already better is going to be what gets you up out of bed in the morning. You know, I read this book called What Happy People Know, and it was the saddest book. It was the saddest book. And the person who gave it to me and said, I really think you'll enjoy this, he wanted me to know how much of a difference it made that he always knew that I was happy. And I certainly have cause to have anguish and sorrow and sadness and tears and grief. We all do. But I think I've been just blessed from the day of my birth that I would be a happy person. And I watched an interview with Goldie Hawn, and she said that. She goes, I just think I was just born happy. And I think I was just born happy too. And one of the things in this book called What Happy People Know is that having a little glimmer of hope some days is enough to get you out of bed, to put one foot in front of the other and put on a smile. And one of the reasons why I am so passionate about having every woman that is within the sound of my voice to look her very best, to be beautiful, to put on the makeup. It does make you feel better. One of my YouTube friends is Doctor of Mind, MD, and he just said how profound it was, the effect of when a woman puts on makeup, how different it makes her feel. And he said that's one of the greatest signs that a patient is getting better, is that they want to look better. They want to put on lipstick. They want to get more beautiful. It makes you feel better. And one of the interesting studies I read, that when times are hard, like during the Depression or when economics go up and down, when they're down, that the sales of lipstick go up. And I'll try and make a copy of that and put it in the more info box, because that is a fascinating study, how women will go, you know, eating soup for a week so that they can buy their lipstick. And interestingly enough, just talking about that, there are 3 sort of recession-proof industries during hard times. And one is alcohol and tobacco, and the other is entertainment, and the last one is cosmetics and skincare. And so if you are in the makeup business like me, you will notice that your sales are booming during, this time that other things may not be booming. And that's because we have a real gift to share, that we can help people feel good and feel happy and have beauty. I got a beautiful card today from my friend Dana, and it was a little quote that said, man needs beauty as much as he needs bread. And I believe that with all of my heart. I absolutely believe that with all of my heart. And in times that are emotionally or spiritually or mentally exhausting, we need to have hope. We have got to have hope. I don't want to go on about, the sad story that I read in that book about what happy people know. But the doctor that wrote it had one special patient who had suffered so much tribulation, so much. And one of them was the loss of his wife, and then the loss of his business and his entire fortune, and it just went on. And this man developed horrible physical tics in his face. And one of the things too, that if you are not aware of this, that your emotions are directly linked to your physical health. Stress, guilt, sadness, depression, if you are suffering from these kind of negative emotions, you're in for, a real eye-opener when you start getting sick on top of all of that. That's why it's so important to make sure that you do have hope, that you do find ways to keep yourself happy and fulfilled and beautiful, that you can, despite the adversity that comes in life, that you can find a way to have that kind of hope. So back to this doctor. He said this patient who had developed this horrible tic, he said, I didn't know what to do for him. I didn't know any medicine I could prescribe, anything. He goes, because if I had lost my wife and my business and everything, his whole entire, everything was wiped out during 9/11. And he asked him to take out the picture of his wife, his beautiful wife who was killed. And he just asked him to describe a little bit about her. And this man described a profound love for his beautiful wife that even then made his eyes sparkle. And to have that kind of love in your life is sometimes what's just enough for that hope. And that doctor said, as soon as I saw that little flicker of light in that man's eyes, I knew that he had everything he needed within himself to rebuild and to use the sadness that he felt to be a better, more loving, more compassionate, non-judgmental, giving person, which he did. He ended up rebuilding his entire business and making a foundation to benefit all of the families whose lives were lost that were in his business, in the building that was destroyed on 9/11. And sometimes stories don't always end happily, and that's really not a happy story either, because he didn't have his wife. But what he did have was enough to get him through the next day and the next day and the next day. Now, I could go on and on about some of the things that I have done to overcome some of my adversities, which are many. I am my greatest makeover story, and the fact that I can show my face and have a smile on it and be radiant and share and give is part of my testimony about hope. That's what it is the ability to find your pain and make it your purpose. I heard Eunice Shriver talk about that in a women's conference, and what a wonderful, wonderful talk that was. find your pain and make it your purpose. And give back. Give with pure charity. You know, faith, hope, and charity always go together, don't they? Like a little three-legged stool. You really can't have one without the other. Because once you have hope, then you have faith. And then when you have those things, you do feel that pure charity to give yourself purely to others. So, thank you for asking me to talk a little bit about hope. And I hope you found this helpful. Thank you. I'm Dianne Hanks.